Greetings and welcome back to King of Many Nations. This will be the last Interregnum report of the EU4 campaign. And seeing as the Victoria 2 converter is not yet done, as of this speaking moment, I will have to put off the pre-conversion edits for a while, as I yet do not know how colonial nations will convert over. So, this will just be a Interregnum report and not the pre-conversion report, as previously promised. So, let's take a look at Europe first. So, we have some of the major power players here, the Netherlands primarily. But as you can see, nations have risen and nations have disappeared, and the borders are, well, odd. I'll probably do some more edits here before it's done. For example, giving Hungary these enclaves from Byzantium and Lithuania. Maybe give them some other cores in exchange for them. It all depends. So, let's start by looking from the west to the east and begin with Great Britain. Great Britain, a constitutional monarchy led by King Octavius I Phocas, which is, I do believe, a Byzantine dynasty. Yeah, Byzantium and Tyrol shares the Phocas dynasty. Well, Great Britain. Great Britain is a great nation. They have added Ireland and Brittany and parts of France to their kingdom. They have lost this and regained it several times, but finally I believe they have consolidated this enough. I think it's English even. Yep, it's all English. Ireland is free here in the southern part of Ireland. The rest of it is completely English. Merchant Republic, led by Dorsh Oengus Sinead, or something like that. One interesting thing is that Great Britain actually inherited Norway, and thus they got Iceland and this part here of Scandinavia, which is completely English. This is kind of interesting because there's no Norwegians left here. Well, there may be some Norwegians left, but there's no Norway and no Norwegian cores. So, where then did all the Norwegians go? Well, they went here, to Brazil. This is a Norwegian administrative republic, a Protestant republic, led by Ståthållare Torolf Homlaug. So that's kind of interesting. I never really understood why Brazil got free from Norway, but they did. And they have stayed independent. So that's kind of fun. Moving on, we can see that France and Aquitaine have been locked in eternal conflict for I don't know how long since the beginning of the game. France here used to be revolutionary, but they got rid of the Republic and reinstituted the classic monarchy. So they once again turned into France, led by King Prospero de Montfort. Prospero. That's kind of a cool name. But they are being ravaged by Aquitaine. And Aquitaine has been truly powerful and a force to be reckoned with throughout the game. They have been set back several times, but nothing that have ever crippled them enough to stop expansion. Still a kingdom, a constitutional monarchy, led by Queen Guillemette Duran. They have expanded here into northern Spain, and have fought over this area of land here for I don't know how long. They still have some unclaimed cores here and there. In Spain, Portugal is dominating completely. Castile still exists though, which is surprising to say the least. A noble republic, led by Prince Traherne Ellis. I honestly believe that they would be wiped out. And their largest colonial nation, Haiti here, which we will cover later, actually broke free from them, but I think they are allied. Yep, they are allied to Haiti. So that's interesting. Portugal is a kingdom, a constitutional monarchy, led by Queen Maud de Beza. Same dynasty as Aragon, I believe. Aragon was almost entirely wiped out, but they have regained some of their cores. a kingdom, constitutional monarchy. Seems to be very popular, constitutional monarchies. It's almost like bureaucratic despotisms were in Alea Iacta Est. King Goselin de Besa. And they are a subject of no one. Italy has never really been a power player, but they are stronger than they have ever been, and they have connected their territory, which is impressive. France has been down here and tried to reclaim loads of cores. I think France still has cores on almost all of this. Yep, everything that's not Lombard, or well, Italian is the proper word. Italy is a noble republic, led by Prince Pierre Herbert. And as you can see, well, it's been a very back and forth game here throughout the entire timeline. I believe they actually have 100 prestige now, but they've spent most of the game at minus 100. So, in the Holy Roman Empire, which actually exists, as you can see here, 4 reforms have been passed. The Reichsreform, the Reichsregiment, the Hofgericht, and they all use the same money. The Gemeiner Pfennig. So, the Netherlands here are a Dutch republic, led by Stadtholder Maurits II, a Protestant nation. They were not Protestants until recently, because this world is mainly Catholic, as you can see. There's almost no Reformation going on anywhere except for in Northern Europe and Scandinavia, and Brazil. The Netherlands have been fighting Lotharingia for ages, and I mean ages. This last war that they have started will unfortunately never be finished, as the time has ended, and the wars are not carried over into Victoria too. Though they still have plenty of cores on each other. As you can see, they share a lot of cores. Right now, the Netherlands have the upper hand, but Lotharingia had the upper hand for a long time. And as you can see, the number of minor states have rapidly decreased, with only Brandenburg, Franconia, Swabia, and St. Gallen still around. Lotharingia is an absolute monarchy, one of the only absolute monarchies, which is very interesting. The rest of them prefer constitutional. Led by King Frederick I von Kaufbeuren, this is the dynasty that ruled them at the end of Crusader Kings 2. So that's kind of fun, they have survived all the way until now. Franconia, not much to say, a constitutional monarchy, led by King Dirk II of Krivich, so they have the same dynasty as Lithuania. Yep, Lithuania still has the Krivich dynasty. Brandenburg, a constitutional monarchy, led by Queen Alice de Nassau, or something like that. Swabia is being sieged. Is actually a subject of, I believe, the Netherlands. Yep, it's a subject of the Netherlands, led by Duchess Machteld I van Holland. And St. Gallen here is a feudal monarchy, so they are a bit behind the times, led by Queen Fenne van Deventer. Is that the same dynasty as anyone? No. Tyrol here is the only mid-sized power in the whole Roman Empire. I do not actually believe that Greater Poland is in the Empire, and I was right. Tyrol is a feudal monarchy led by King Sigmund Franz I of Phokas. They have been, well, kicked around quite a bit. They have had great success in expanding from time to time, but always lost everything. I think they are at their height right now. I do not believe they have any unclaimed cores anywhere. No, they just have a lot of claims. Austria used to be here, but the Netherlands inherited them quite early on, and now there's no other cores but Netherlandish cores down here. Greater Poland has, for some reason, been allowed to make heavy incursions into the whole Roman Empire, as you can see. They are a Czech state, I believe. Yep, they are. And they broke free from Karlsland at the end of Crusader Kings 2 and converted over as an independent nation. Karl's land, on the other hand, has been completely eradicated. I do not even know if they have their cores left. It's hard to tell. I do not believe so. Yeah, they have one. So Karl's land has one core here in Leszczyka or something like that. So Greater Poland is an administrative monarchy led by King Arnost I of Rwantinik. So, Scandinavia has been both greatly successful and incredibly unsuccessful. They have lost several wars but never been forced to release anything, and they have only managed to expand. They started out as Denmark and eventually formed after conquering most of this. Finland and Karelia fell and are now completely Danish except for Karelia. So, they are a constitutional monarchy led by King Håkon III Vide. They have not been colonizing anything and have been satisfied with ruling their native Scandinavia, except for the part that Great Britain has had for I don't know how long. Hungary here is actually quite a surprising nation to see so successful. They were not that successful before. Right now they are in a personal union under Mordva, which may mean that they are a satellite state in Victoria too. I still don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But they have expanded like crazy. I believe it might be because they turned western and started expanding into their eastern neighbors. But they have also taken some land from the Netherlands, I think. Let's see here. Yeah, they have one of the Netherlands cores. So Hungary is an administrative monarchy led by, well, Queen Sanalka Vide. So it seems like Scandinavia and Mordva has the same dynasty. Well, that's interesting. We also have Lithuania, which is Lithuania but with a Russian majority population. A constitutional monarchy led by Queen Euphemia I of Krivich. So they still have the same dynasty as in the beginning. And I like that. It's one of the most successful nations. Even though they have been losing a lot of wars lately, they still have a respectable size and an incredible presence in European politics. Here in the east we have Byzantium, which used to be so great and has declined into barely... I mean, they can't even defend their own heartlands anymore. I don't know what happened to them. Still an empire led by Empress Apollonia II of Phokas. As you can see, they are currently being invaded by... Actually, I think they are attacking Bulgaria and winning, but this war will never count. They were forced to release Bulgaria, and Bulgaria used to be completely absorbed by them. But they were forced to split Bulgaria out in a war, and they still had cores on this that you see here. They also split out Derbent, which is, well, doomed to be absorbed into a larger nation, I believe. At least eventually in Victoria. I mean, one province and cores from all manner of nations. Bulgaria's capital, by the way, is here in southern Italy, interestingly. Bulgaria is a constitutional monarchy led by Queen Senei I of Laskaris. And that concludes, well, main Europe, except for, of course, Mordva. So let's take a look at Mordva and Armenia and then move on to Near Asia. Mordva, a feudal monarchy, so they are way behind the governmental reform stuff. Led by Queen Sanalka I of Vide, we mentioned her before. Mordva were incredibly successful, especially under our rule, and it has expanded all the way to the other side of the world, colliding with Chinese states. So, Armenia, a feudal monarchy led by King Kyros II of Chysikos. They have been under attack constantly from Byzantium and Mordva. But it's not very surprising, because they are in quite a delicate position, lodged between... Well, they have been fighting Persia as well. I believe Persia has expanded up into their former territory here, even though it's Cuman. I believe it used to be Armenian at one point in time. So, let's take a look at some of the other converted nations, the last two converted nations that we have not yet looked at. The first one is the Arabian Caliphate, possibly the most powerful nation in the world. They're completely westernized, a constitutional monarchy, and, well, it's hard to see what dynasty they have, but it seems to be Raghuvansi. They have absorbed all their neighbors. This used to be a much more diverse area, but they took the role of, well, they took the task of uniting all Muslims quite seriously. So they at least united almost every Sunni Muslim in the world, except for the ones in India and Tibet, and, well, the Indies, and East Africa. So, you know, they still have a ways to go, but they took every core they had and succeeded in uniting them. I do not believe there's any other cores except for, well, Najd here, which is a revolter state, but there's Algerian cores, I believe, but that's all. The rest is all Arabia. Oh, they managed to absorb their vassal, by the way. Funyi was here just a few years ago. I was unsure if they would have, if they had the time to absorb them before the game was over, but they apparently had. Abyssinia here in the east used to be a Muslim technology group nation, while the Arabian Caliphate were Western. But they managed to westernize just in time for Victoria, and have conquered their way down the eastern seaboard here of Africa, all the way down to the Portuguese South African colonies, where they have actually never fought the colony itself or been attacked by it. Kind of interesting. I thought there would be more conflict there, but there never were. Speaking of westernization, I'm just gonna show you the absolute monarchy of their nation and Sultan Hassan Okbokid before I mention westernization. Westernization, it all started with Arabian Caliphate. They westernized really early. Following them was Persia. Persia is also westernized. It's an administrative monarchy led by Sultan Ibrahim II of Gilzai. And then, suddenly, Abyssinia westernized and Mali westernized. So Mali is actually a western nation. Oh, well, a western tech nation. Still Shiite. They never expanded anything, but that's fine. They have one animist and two Sunni provinces left to convert. They still survived. No one has taken one single province from them during the entire game, which is fantastic. I think they might have lost one, actually. Yeah, they have lost one province to Portuguese Sahel. So, that covers all of the converted nations. Now, let's take a quick look at the rest of the world. And let's ignore all the non-interesting nations, like colonial nations, for example. Here we have... The Uzbeks used to be incredibly large. Right now they only have these cores left. But they are single-handedly responsible for the fact that Tibet is actually a Sunni theocracy. Bhutan, a noble republic, Sunni. Nepal, a Shiite noble republic. I don't believe they are responsible for that, but some Shiite nation here must be, surely. In India, we played as Vijayanagar, but we were obviously doomed to fail. We never won a war, and the AI fared no better. They got destroyed by the British, the Netherlands, the Mughals, and Jaunpur. The British has established a colony here, British India, while the Netherlands never got enough territory to do that. Portugal as well. Jaunpur is actually... What? Western? I never noticed that they were Western. A protectorate of Great Britain, apparently. and therefore Western. Well then, I expect great things from Jaunpur in Victoria too. I do not think the Mughals are Western. No, they are Muslim still. So that's interesting. Jaunpur is Western, while the Mughals are not. Gondwana, Indian, a protectorate of Vijayanagar. That's interesting. Shan here used to own this area here. That's why they have one little area still left here. That should probably be given to Tibet or Bhutan in an edit, because they would have lost it to rebels at the same time as Tibet. Shan, a Buddhist despotic monarchy. They used to be a lot bigger than this. Let's see if they have any cores down here. Yeah, they do. They have had a lot of their cores stolen and are now a kind of well, prestigeless nation being assailed from all sides. China here. The Ming dynasty is entirely wiped out. The Manchu took the north and the Shu took the south. So the Manchus are in a personal union under Shu. I had no idea. That must be new. They have their independence supported by Ake. That's the first time I've seen an independence support in this game. So the Shu, allied to Lansang, leads personal unions with Manchu. Buddhist state, I believe. They are Buddhist, and Manchu is Confucian. So they could unite eventually. I don't think they can unite in Victoria 2. Maybe there's an event to form China or something that they can trigger. But seeing as they are Chinese tech, at least they won't be run away when it comes to industry for a while. The Arabian Caliphate has colonized a bit here in the east. No colonial nation though, because it's still on the same continent as their capital, Asia. But they did spawn this little thing here, Shun, a Sunni Chinese empire with cores all over the place. So I'm interested to see if this Sunni Chinese empire will take off in Victoria by having its cores returned to it. You never know. Ake down here, a very powerful westernized nation. I don't know, they just won the lottery, I guess. They managed to conquer a lot of their neighbors before the Westerners arrived, and held on to all of the territory as well, which is very impressive. Another westernized nation here is Brunei. Managed to westernize as well, so there's a lot of westernizers here. I think Makassar may be westernized. No, it's not. The colonial presence here is mainly Portugal, with an Arabian Australia also present, and New South Wales. And Japan has actually colonized both Taiwan and what's this called? Ainu, I think, and the Kuriles, which I never see. So I don't know how they did it. Though Okinawa is Portuguese. So for the Americas, in North America we have 2 independent nations. No, 3 independent major nations. Haiti, which is undoubtedly the most powerful of them. Thanks to us. We played Hispaniola, which was a colony of Castile, and expanded crazy much in mainland America. And a few hundred years later, they decided to revolt, and Haiti was formed along with Louisiana, which is also a former Castilian colony, I believe. I have been messing around with the borders up here to make them more logical, as you can see, especially here, giving some nations cores from their motherland, some colonial nations. Haiti's capital is here, and they are quite an interesting nation, so let's take a look at their government. They are an administrative monarchy led by King Obiso I of Kernev. Louisiana is also an administrative monarchy led by King Edan I of Gwynedd. We have a sizable French Canada here, along with a minor French Louisiana, and also a New France. Along the east coast we have some westernized natives like the Ottawa, which are a Catholic Western nation, the Powhatan, the same thing there, and the Iroquois, the same thing there. We have a minor French, actually Aquitanian. I always get them mixed up, Aquitaine and France, because their colors are so similar. Anyway, Floridae here is Aquitanian, and they have lost a lot of territory to Haiti. Great Britain never quite got enough colonies to form a colonial nation, but they still have a sizable presence here that they will surely have to fight for in Victoria. Mexico looks quite weird, and I have been thinking, you may come with input here if you like. I'd like to merge the Aztecs and French Mexico, perhaps in some kind of cash deal that France sells these provinces to the Aztecs, so that the Aztecs connect to their east coast provinces. Right now they have 2 ports here, but no way to reach them from their mainland. Their capital is in, let's see, Mexico. The Aztecs westernized really quickly, and they are Catholics. Here we have some more natives, the Apache, the Navajo, and the Pueblo. They are all Christian, except for the Navajo, that are still clinging to the old ways. We have Aquitanian Mexico, one of the larger nations here, but still quite loyal to their home country, their mother country. And Aquitanian Louisiana has some stuff down here as well, so they are a very dislodged nation. I'm not sure what I think of that. I might give this to French Canada, if people agree. On the west coast we have California, an Aquitanian nation that has been loyal for very long. They coexist peacefully with the Shoshone, which are North American and totemism, so they have not westernized. They are, though, a protectorate of California. And here we have France and Aquitaine fighting for Alaska. The Portuguese have southern Mexico on a lockdown. Aquitaine, though, has secured Panama, so they will be able to construct the Panama Canal, most likely. And here we have something interesting. This colonial nation here, Portuguese Peru, has conquered so much land from Castile's colonies here that they have been reduced to a mere just a few provinces each. This is Castilian Colombia. They have 2 provinces. This is Las Guayanas. They only have these 4 left. While it's hard to see the border here, but I believe yeah, here it is. So Portuguese Peru is all of this. It's kind of impressive actually, but they still do not want independence. Along with Portuguese Brazil and Rio de Prata. Castile has more land here than they have in their homeland, which is surprising to me because I thought they would move their capital if they had it surrounded like this, but they never did. And lastly, let's take a quick look at Africa. In Africa we have the British Gold Coast. Also a long time nation, colonial nation of Britain, very loyal. I've edited some provinces to them, these 2 more specifically. And we have Congo down here. Congo has never westernized, and I do not know why. They have had all the time in the world to do it. A protectorate of Great Britain. The Netherlands and Great Britain have personal control over these coastlines here, while Portugal has the entirety of South Africa. So it will be really interesting to see what the Victoria II converter does to the colonial nations, if they are independent or if they are reabsorbed into the mother country, or perhaps something else. I do not know. Anyway, let's take a look at the ledger for fun. So, these are all the countries that still exist. We have seen them all while we took our look around the world. So, the income. Portugal is earning the most money in the world right now. Oh man. More than double that of the Netherlands. Might be because they are at peace or something, I don't know actually. And it seems like the Netherlands, I don't even know. Who would need 180,000 ducats. Perhaps they have built everything and are just hoarding gold. I mean, the Netherlands will be absolute runaways in the industrialization game because they will be able to spend so much or invest so much. So that's kind of interesting. And as you can see, no other nation comes close, only Portugal. For some reason Aragon has a large treasury as well. Haiti has a high income along with Arabian Caliphate, so these four nations may be the four greatest competing powers. So, score comparison. I've been looking at this a lot throughout my playthrough, but these are the final scores. The Netherlands have won with 19,762 points. Behind them comes the Arabian Caliphate, surprisingly enough, with 16,000 points. And then Portugal, Byzantium, Great Britain, Scandinavia, Lotharingia, Mordva, etc. But the ones who are raking in the most points right now are both the Netherlands and Portugal, interestingly enough, followed by Arabia and Great Britain, etc. So, religions might be interesting to see. So, Catholicism is incredibly dominant with almost 800 provinces worldwide following their religion and 55 countries. Sunni is following with 219 provinces and 13 countries following. And then we have Protestants, 4 countries, 105 provinces. And then of course Nestorian, Mordva, defenders of the faith. No other Nestorian nations in the world. 102 provinces. And then we have Shiite, 77 provinces and 3 nations. And then the Eastern religions. No single country in the world is reformed. And then here we have all the bugged, non-localized things that the converter puts in the game. For some reason, I don't know actually. And, well, no Orthodox provinces left. Anything else here we could take a look at? The Holy Roman Emperors. Someone might be interested in this. The current Holy Roman Empire Emperor holder is Tyrol, and they have held it for a long time. But as you can see, Byzantium was emperor at one point. And that is quite interesting. Is there anything else here? Nations technologies, let's see. Admin technology. 3 nations are in the very top. Actually, 2 nations are. I believe, at least. Let's see. 32, 32, 32. Scandinavia. Not even the Netherlands have maxed technology. So, Scandinavia. Great Britain. And then, yeah. It's those 2 nations are the most technologically advanced in the world. So congratulations to Scandinavia and Great Britain. The rest of the world is, well, kind of behind. Not much, but a bit. Anyway, thank you for watching this Interregnum report, and I will do a video of my conversion changes ASAP as I get to know how the Victoria 2 converter will work. But I will most likely move some provinces around here, so feel free to leave comments on other areas that you think I should edit before. Perhaps I missed something somewhere, or someone thinks a nation should have its capital moved, for example, like Castile. I'm not entirely sure. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.